Hello there, this is the Jonin Monkey, welcoming you back to the Donkey Kong Jungle Climber playthrough. Today we are challenging the first two levels of Chill Char Island, and the first level is Falling Falls. Now, in a moment you'll go to notice a slightly odd edit, basically because I am now cutting out the bonus barrel mini game whenever I go in there, because whilst I do need the extra lives, I don't need to bore you with showing you it every single time. So, yeah. That's the reason why you occasionally see those weird edits. Anyway, this is Falling Falls. Now, King of Swing had a level similar to this, but I'd say this level is the best place to showcase the differences between the two games. I mean, both of them had falling pegs which you needed to grab, but not only the graphics of this much superior, but the music fits the stage more, and it's not incredibly chittery. The game looks like a Donkey Kong Country game. There are like classic enemies everywhere. It's just, yeah, basically, if you ever wanted to see the differences between these two games, just play the waterfall levels, and you'll see what the two differences are. For better or for worse. Some people prefer King of Swing over this for some reason. Maybe it's because they thought the gameplay was better in King of Swing. I personally wouldn't agree with them, but that's their opinion. If that's what they think, I'll be happy to debate it with them, but I won't be horrible towards them for it. Now, during my raving, I admit the opportunity to tell you a gameplay feature. These weird blocks with the holes in, basically, as you saw me do it a few seconds earlier, in order to move on any further with the stage, you have to place rocks into the holes so that they can act as pegs. So, yeah, doing it like that. And at this stage, we are going to take this opportunity to chuck them at neckies as well. Again, and like with all the other rock-thrown sections, this is satisfying once you complete it, but because the game is so picky about angles, it can also be a little bit frustrated as well. We have all three holes completed, and of course it requires you to be a good jumper as well once you've got the pegs for this, which I clearly wasn't then. Now, if you're thinking this level looks pretty easy so far, oh, don't worry. Once we get out of this cave, there's an even tougher section in a bit, which is slowly one of the signs of the game's difficulty curve going straight upwards. And yeah, it's starting to get frustrating. Okay, yeah, this bit has vines which are growing out of the ground and will hurt you really badly if you get hit by them. Here it's all a question of timing. You get a small warning as you see them poking out a little bit before they grow to their full extent, but just be careful. And in this section it's all about timing and angles, and somehow I managed to fluke that one there. I wish I could say it was thanks to my brilliant gaming skills, but I think that's one of the very few times I've ever been able to complete that. And this section is also quite tough. As you can see here, there is wind. Very, very strong wind. For those of you who are playing Donkey Kong Country 2, this is kind of like I think it was either Gustly Glades or Windy. I think it's Gustly Glades. Yeah, the Gustly Glades level where the wind is constantly. It's either slowing your jumps down, or it's even making them go much further than necessary. So, yeah, although this tends towards more the dangerous side, as the wind seems to be pushing you into every single form of pain possible. I mean, it's trying to push us directly into the tires. Oh, and these spiky thorns. And unlike the gusty gales, the wind isn't just temporary. This is a constant blowing force 10 gale. So it's really hard to walk around or jump across. The only way to move forward is by grabbing onto the pegs and using the barrel roll attack. But it takes... Oh, and the Crystal Star. The Crystal Star is the traditional game breaker there. But yeah, basically, but basically, those are the only ways you can really move. If you try moving any other way, the wind will just push you in all the directions. And this is where it gets a little bit dangerous, because not only have you got Xenos flying around, but the wind is now pushing you towards a large wall of thorny vines, so just be careful in this section, that's all I'm saying. Okay, we have finally reached the end. And that's Falling Floors for you. Yeah, not much else to say. Right, on to the next level. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the title and I couldn't read it off the screen. This is the first snow level. And yeah, this section is pretty annoying. Alright, you now got the bombs, which basically as soon as you pick them up, they're set on a timer and will explode no matter where they are. If in the wall, or in your hand, or even in the air. And as you can see, this Kremlin's constantly throwing down bombs at you, which is making your task even harder. Now, there are two ways to go about doing this. The first is to try and speak. You have to quickly go for the barrels with the question marks and blow those up, so you can move on to the next section. Or do what I just did and make your life a whole lot easier by blowing up the Kremlin. Now, either way, it takes timing, because a lot of the time the Kremlins are positioned in such a way that just throwing the bombs themselves can't actually hurt them. The way you have to avoid them is, the only way you have to get there is by swinging around a couple of times and then getting the timing of the countdown right so it explodes mid-throw and hits the enemy, which is, combined with the whole angle thing you get from the rock throwing sections, it can be a little frustrating. Especially in this section, because now you've got the canyon walls to mess with you. So the bombs have a tendency of bouncing off the walls and back towards you, especially if you get the angle wrong. Which is why a few seconds ago you saw me leaping down half the stage in order to take cover. I might have been a little bit overreacting then, thinking about it. So, waiting for it. And see, yeah, that's another thing. It's picky about how close the explosion has to be before it hits anything. So, I really think it should have blown out that block. I mean, come on! Okay, if this doesn't blow it, there we go. Now, all we got to do is get the question mark barrel. There we go. Now, there is also an oil barrel and banana core hidden in there, but frankly, I don't have the patience here, and I doubt you have the will to watch a video that's just me throwing bombs anyway. So, we're now into this frozen icy canyon with falling platforms everywhere. And Necky's juniors, which have gone back to their irritating, nut-spitting cells. And with the collection of Diddy, we can now pick up an old friend of ours. So, once I get the angle sorted out... That's right, folks! It's hammer time! Sorry, I'll stop now. I'll stop before it gets embarrassing. Anyway... Yes, now we have the hammer. You can just senselessly crush everything in your way. Ah, so enjoyable. But yeah, having Diddy around is always extremely useful for moments like this. And as you can see there, we skipped through the bonus game and on to the next section. And this is actually pretty interesting, pretty fun. As you can see here, the pegs are all frozen in ice. And so you can't actually hold on to it. Well, you can hold on to it, but you're constantly slipping around. So, yeah, the whole point is you're grabbing onto pegs and just changing the angle of your sliding. So, sliding across the ice. Who knows? Maybe he could be in Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics. I mean, hey, he was supposed to be in Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, well, the original one. And that's true, actually. He originally was. Someone hacked the game and found that DK's model was actually saved in there. And I have kind of mixed feelings about it. Whilst it's kind of more of a Mario and Sonic feeling versus DK didn't really need to be in there, it would have been nice to have it in there. I mean, yes, some of the render shots of DK holding a rapier during fencing looked absolutely ridiculous, but it was kind of cool. Anyways, enough of that, because that is the end of the level, and that's the end of this part. Join me next time.